Welcome back, my boys and girls. So today we've got the crazy news that Billy Mitchell has been banned for cheating in the Twin Galaxies record-keeping website. So if you've been following along, and I've been following along a little bit, it was brought up recently that there were suspicions that he used MAME instead of actual hardware way back in the day. And now it's been found that no, he is not the first person to break 1 million in Donkey Kong. It was in fact Steve Wiebe, which is pretty cool news. If you watched that documentary back in the day, The King of Kong Fistful of Quarters, that's probably where most of us became familiar with Billy Mitchell. Because, you know, if you weren't really into that scene of high scores and arcade stuff in that regard, you might not have known any of these guys. I'm being honest, I didn't know who the heck Billy Mitchell was until I saw that movie when it came out. And I really was impressed. I loved the movie, the documentary. You know, you kind of felt for Steve Wiebe, and you know, Billy Mitchell was portrayed kind of as the villain. He was the bad guy. And I've read interviews and seen interviews with him where he kind of hinted at it. It's a movie. He was being portrayed in a certain light. They edited it in a certain way. And I guess, you know, I have met Billy Mitchell several times over the years, and, you know, the impressions you get from who he is in that movie versus who he is just walking up to him, it was a little different. He was very approachable, very cool dude to talk to. I've seen him at several expos, conventions, you know, arcade gatherings, stuff like that, and just seemed like a cool dude. Both him and Walter Day, they go to these things, and it's, you know, from my experiences, I'm only talking about my experiences. I don't know what you have experienced with Billy Mitchell or Walter Day. But from my experiences, seeing these guys going to presentations, panels, you know, screenings of certain things, and discussing, you know, topics with these guys, or just, you know, witnessing it or talking to them direct. These guys, they go out there to try to preserve the history, you know, of arcade gaming and stuff like that. It's a dwindling thing. Ever since the 90s, you know, arcades have kind of disappeared, in the States anyway. And I fully can respect what they've done and what they do promoting these things and going out there. And from my experiences, it's never really been so much of Billy Mitchell hyping up, oh, I'm a champion, this and this and that. I'm not saying he doesn't. He does have an ego, even though I'm saying he's a little different than what he was portrayed in the movie, but he's still, you know, he's Billy Mitchell. He is who he is, right? And it's kind of messed up that it's been exposed that he cheated. And I do feel there's probably going to be a lot more to it relating back to the filming of that movie. He stayed pretty quiet about all this stuff, but in recent times, you know, we've had a lot of people being exposed for cheating with speed running, splicing footage. You know, Todd Rogers with his infamous dragster record that had been proven, you know, through PC, you know, simulations and whatnot, and digging through the code of the game, that his score was impossible. Yet he fought that to the end. Billy Mitchell stayed quiet, and unfortunately, I think for him staying quiet, maybe he won't stay quiet now. Maybe he'll have something to say soon. Who knows? But I think if he did in fact cheat, used MAME, exploited it, whichever way, as far as, you know, the rules are, you know, if you're playing on MAME, there's a different category for that. If you're playing on original hardware, there's another category for that. And, you know, the original hardware stuff is pretty tooth and nail with people trying to top each other on that. And, you know, you have to abide by those rules. And, you know, it's been found that he didn't. So he has been completely banned, all his scores removed, and he is done. You know, what does that leave for Billy Mitchell? You know, if some more stuff comes to light, I mean, there's no redeeming what, you know, the news has stated, him being a cheater, you know, tarnishing that, you know, tarnishing that legacy of his, that's gone. But what's you know, what's left of him? Is he just going to go back to hawking his hot sauce? You know, just kind of go back, stay away from promoting arcade stuff? if he does in fact stay away from that instead of just, you know, balls deep, just you know, just being a part of it, I think that's kind of a bad thing. I really do hope he still stays out there, promotes the arcade stuff, promotes the history, him and Walter Day, you know, preserving all that. I hope they still stay out there and do that. Are there, you know, going to be reasons he doesn't want to? Sure, he's probably going to have a lot of people throwing crap at him, yelling at him, or just snubbing him. You know, maybe dependent upon where he goes, you know. But I still hope he stays part of that community in one way or another. But I also do hope that though he stayed quiet, that he does open his mouth and say something. Not something stupid. It's hard to say, you know, they've proven pretty much without a shadow of doubt that he cheated. If there's any way that he could prove that he didn't, I don't think there is. You know, so I think that's just said and done. But I would hope he would address it at some point and just move on and continue to be a part of the arcade community, though he'll never be recognized in record-keeping attempts again. And that's unfortunate for him. You know, I'm really curious how he feels and thinks about all this stuff. Maybe he feels it's just video games and who cares, and his life is bigger than that. And I think that might be part of his attitude, to be honest, just from certain things I've seen him or heard him say in the past and whatnot. Not to downplay what he's, you know, done. He's a great game player. He's accomplished a lot, but all that's been removed from the records. So, you know, what's next for Billy Mitchell? What's next? Like I said, I personally hope he stays in the arcade community, in a sense, promoting the history and preserving the history behind it and promoting these venues and events and stuff like that. But a lot of these events and venues may not want him. That's going to be the sad thing for him. But hopefully he can bounce back in one way or another. Maybe we'll get another documentary. Who knows? Very interesting stuff. You know, a lot of people might say, who cares? Who gives a crap? It's a video game. It's an arcade game. Who cares about high scores? You know, that's a waste of time. It's pointless. And, you know, I can respect people's opinions. I'm not a person that's like, oh, I got to perfect this. But, you know, some people, they dedicate a lot of time and energy and effort into becoming good at something. We can all argue that everything is a waste of time. You know, everything. Learning to draw and being a great artist, that's a waste of time. Programming a game, that's a waste of time. It's pointless. Writing a script to a movie, oh, that's a waste of time. It's pointless. Who's to say what is a waste of time and what's pointless? I mean, none of us. What's important to you and what makes you happy in life is what matters. And unfortunately for some, you know, they're pretty pissed at what's gone down, because it's you know, it's put those scuff marks on the history of these record keepers and you know, record holders. And you know, it is what it is. You know, who's going to be exposed next? You know, there's, like I stated, there's a lot of things out there. These speed runners, these old school record holders. Nobody's safe. If you cheated, you're going to be found. Might take some time, but these guys are on it, man. They want to preserve, you know, the decency and the purpose of these records, and I can appreciate that. You know, expose these guys, and hopefully, if anybody else out there who's into this stuff and has records, you know, it's time to just fess up and give it up, you know what I mean? These guys are being found out, and it's gonna, you know, affect their lives in one way or another. I still can respect Billy Mitchell. I still got some love for the dude. I don't know him personally or anything like that. Like I said, I've met him a few times, but I can respect what he does and what he has done. I wish he would have handled this situation a little differently, perhaps. Maybe came forward, but then again, I mean, in his mind, he might not think he ever cheated. So, you know, some people, they have that. It's just stuck in there. They could think a certain event, a certain thing happened a specific way. And I know you guys know what I'm talking about. Especially those of you who are married or whatever, you know. You might have had a fight with your wife or an argument, or something came up, or a certain situation, and you know, you remember it one way and she remembers it another way. It just happens, you know what I mean? And then you're just stuck. Some people get stuck with lies or with distorted views of what actually happened, and they believe it. So is Billy Mitchell that kind of person? Did he cheat and really believe he did it, you know, the proper way? I don't know. I'm not a psychologist, nothing like that, but that's my 2 cents, you know. I still can appreciate the guy. I still hope he can stay in the community in one way or another. Maybe not so much as far as record keeping. I mean, if they do another movie and he's in it, and it has to do with this controversy, that's, you know, there's going to be a little bit of a payday for him there. Why not? People will want to watch that. People love The King of Kong, Fistful of Quarters, and if they did a sequel to that, you know, The King of Cheaters, a fistful of nuts, I don't know, fistful of something, people would watch it. So I appreciate you guys stopping in. Share your thoughts. That's all. Like, I didn't script any of this, just kind of talking off the cuff here, speaking what I'm thinking at the moment. How do you guys feel? What do you think about Billy Mitchell? You hate him? You love him? You don't think he cheated? You think this was all blown out of proportion? Twin Galaxies is done. Who cares about them anymore? Somebody else needs to take the reins, or what? I don't know. Share your feelings down below. I read all comments. You guys smashing that like button, commenting, being subscribers means the world to me. Try to respond to as much as I can. Staying part of the community, because you guys are what makes this channel great. Thank you, and I will catch y'all next time. Peace out, guys. Bye-bye. Boom.